Of course, the pound is in focus. Suddenly, this political risk is back on the table for Keir Starmer. The UK Prime Minister's political future is in the balance after his chief of staff quit over the appointment of Peter Mandelson as ambassador to Washington. This after revelations over Mandelson's past ties to Jeffrey Epstein. And according to our sources, Downing Street is bracing for cabinet ministers to push for Starmer's resignation. Let's bring in Bloomberg's Rosalind Mathieson. So, Ross, how did he get into such a situation to begin with?
Well, it's interesting, as you say, the whispers around Starmer are getting louder and louder and more public, which suggests that he actually is now in some danger because, of course, the issue around Mandelson has been known for some time, his past links to Jeffrey Epstein, and yet this administration pushed ahead with making him, at least then, the ambassador to the US. The idea was he understood Donald Trump. He'd be able to help the UK navigate the waters of this Trump presidency, which turned out obviously to have been a mistake because all that's really dogged him has been the Epstein issue. And now it's really consuming Starmer's government, the extent to which Keir Starmer knew about Mandelson's long-running ties to Epstein and yet made him ambassador anyway. And so now, of course, his chief of staff has resigned. But does that just in a way blow back against Starmer, because ultimately the person who made this decision was Keir Starmer, and so of course his chief of staff has resigned because he suggested that he do it, but the ultimate decision was not his. And so you can see now the noises around Starmer growing ever louder. The concern is this just consumes his government for, the election's not for a couple of years, but he's had several missteps and mistakes in his tenure already. And can he get above this and beyond it and get back to what he wants to talk about, at least in the next couple of weeks? That's very unlikely.
Yeah, so is there a way that he can shore up his position at this point, especially when he does have a couple of local elections also coming up?
Well, that's the question. Can he? Does he bring some of these people into the tent, give them bigger jobs in his government? Would they really want to do that if they're considering challenging him for the leadership? Do they wait to see how these elections go? You've got one by-election in a couple of weeks. You've got a big set of local elections in May. Those tend to go against the national government no matter what. People use them as a chance to give the national government a bit of a kicking, but they could be pretty bad for Labor, especially bad in this case. So do you bide your time, you wait for those to roll through, Starmer takes, he has to take the heat for that outcome no matter what, and then you step in and challenge him. So, would they really want to come into his administration in a bigger way right now if that's what they're really thinking about? In fact, keeping your distance from Starmer might benefit you if you're really thinking of making a leadership challenge and saying you can be the one who can lead Labor, into the next election, which is still some years away, but a lot of ground for Labor to make up either way. So it's very difficult to see what could be the path forward for Starmer here. What can he do to shore up his leadership, with these allegations still rolling on and likely to go on for several months at least?